Yeah, he joined.
Yeah. I think there is a little extension to what we discussed yesterday on the question which we have from Paramesh. So I would like to just give a little more information on that because this scenario, whatever Paramesh asked yesterday, see this one, Paramesh, this is something
Yes,
which you,
sir.
yeah. We need a little extension here because we need to get little more information. You did yesterday this one. What is that? You said some a underscore ADR equal to something and b underscore ADR equal to something. I'll just show you because now after this you try to compare a underscore ADR is b underscore ADR and so right. Okay, right. This is what you have asked and we had discussed this. Till that is fine. Now if I run this, so what is the output here? This is an identity, this thing where we are just doing a identity comparison or address comparison. So what would be the output here? It is
It will be false, sir. Yeah.
false, correct.
Yeah.
Right. So now same thing. There is one more scenario. Suppose so here actually we are not much focusing on this ARB, but we are actually focusing on the address of both A and B. Yeah, this is fine. If you print this address, right? So A underscore ADR, okay, or you can directly print ID of A and ID of B. That is one thing. And same thing will be there even in A underscore ADR and B underscore ADR. Let me just show you. Okay, fine. This is fine. Now when we run this, let's just run this. So these are the addresses, right? So A underscore is this is 2339851 Mm,
Sir, you need to print ID of A underscore ADR and ID of B underscore ADR instead of
hmm.
instead of just printing A underscore ADR.
No, we are printing both, right? A underscore and B underscore, and we got A
No,
and
no,
B.
we are assigning that ID of A to A underscore ADR, right? We need to print that ID of ADR. Then we can get the difference.
Okay. Now this is giving us okay, false. ID of what is that? I didn't get that. We
ID of A underscore ADR.
Oh, sorry, yeah. That I Yeah, that's true. ID of A underscore ADR, ID of
B underscore ADR.
yeah. Now I got it. Yeah. So now let us see this now. Thanks for correcting this. Yes. Till this it is fine. Both values are same, and this is what the discussion is. Now, if you run this, now you can see the address of this is different. The address of B underscore ADR is different. Okay. So there is one more scenario. Suppose you take A equal to 10 and also B equal to A, not A, 10. Now, in this case, you can see here, even this is almost same as this one. So we assign the ID of A, which is nothing but, so we are the address of A. Again, ID of B, address of B. And here in this case, both, one more thing I should do here is, I should print address of these two as well. Let me do one thing. Yeah, let me save it here. Let me print it B also. This is something very important for you. You know, now you see what is the address of A and what is the address of B. These definitely both will be same because We are trying to copy address of A to B. We are blindly copying address of or reference of this object A to object B. So that ID of A and ID of B will be definitely same. So now, if you see here, this ID of A is this one, some 1632, and even this is also same. So when you assign this same address to again to A underscore ADR and B underscore ADR, that is creating a different address altogether for A underscore ADR and B underscore ADR. Now you see a scenario, same scenario I am actually trying to simulate, right? So I have A equal to 10, B equal to 10. Now you can see here now, print of A is B. What is it? A is B. Now you have same value for, you can see here. If you print A underscore ADR, what is that idea of, okay, fine. You do also one more thing. See this. You see this. What is value of A underscore ADR? Just print value of this one as well. Nothing but address of A, which is nothing but this value. And B underscore ADR. Nothing but address of B, but still both addresses are same here. The address of or ID of A and ID of B both would be same because we are doing a simple reference comparison. So that's why address of A and address of B would be same. Same thing we assign to A underscore ADR, B underscore ADR. Fine, right? So then when we do that, so here both are having same values, same objects. We don't have different objects in these two variables. Now we are checking idea of A, idea of B, and then also printing this ADR and BDR, BADR at variables. Now run this once. Okay. And even here, we are trying to have we are actually trying to construct a similar scenario. Now, what is the output here now? What is the answer here, friends? Any idea? Is it false or
True.
is it true?
True.
Okay, this is true. We got answer as true. But as per this one, what is that? Because idea of A is same, idea of B is same. Now, when we again checking idea of this and when you are doing identity comparison of these two, it is getting false here. But here we are doing same thing, but here we get true. See, there is a change in the scenario here. You have to observe this carefully. See, you got my point, right, friends? Here, idea of A is nothing but this one, right? Let me just make it more clear. And idea of B is this one. Let us make it much more clear. So means what? Both are nothing but same values. So this address is whatever we are assigning to A, whatever we are assigning to the second variable B underscore ADR is same. Now when we do reference comparison, ADR is BADR, it is giving false, fine. But here, if you do the same, here A is 10, B is 10, we are doing a similar thing like this. But here it is getting true, but here it is getting false. You are getting the point, friends? This is very important. If the same question, if you get in some certification or some interview, this is we need to do a careful analysis here. This is very important. Now let's run this. First run this. We'll discuss this quickly. Nothing. This is not really that really a very deeper topic. Very simple topic. Only you need to understand one fundamental information. Here it is giving true. So this is a little confusing, right? Just think. See here. When we assign a same value for AADR and BADR, let it be address. Even though it is address, when once we assign it as some value, then it is a value. It's not no more an address to whatever it is there in AADR or BADR. I'm doing same. Even now I have AB with same values, but I'm assigning it as a different thing. Now in this case, when I say A is B, it is giving true. But in this case, when I say A ADR is B ADR, it is giving false. Why? That is the question. You got it right?
Sir, here we need to find the address, right, sir? Because we are like just directly comparing the values, right? B, 10 is 10,
Nowhere
but
we
here,
are comparing. Nowhere we are comparing values. When you say is operator, it is identity comparison. Means address comparison. It's not value comparison. You
okay.
got my point here,
So,
friends?
so 10 means like address. It's not a value here.
Which one?
So
No,
A
no,
equal to 10, right,
no,
sir?
no,
10 is
no,
a
no,
value. 10 is
no,
a
10 is
not
value,
a
at
right?
all. You see here, let me just show you. ID of A. Okay. 10 is not. Once you assign, even this address becomes value for A ADR and this address becomes value for B ADR. Here, both values are same in A and B, A ADR and B ADR. When I do reference comparison, it is giving false. Means what? The address of A ADR is different, B ADR is different. When I assign same value, see here. This is important, you have to observe here. But I am doing the same thing for A and B. I assign 10 and 20, similar to this. You can see I am doing something like this here. When I say A, idea of A, idea of B, right?
Mhm.
Right. So this is giving true. Means both addresses are same for A and B. Let's run this one. You run it again. See, this is idea of A, this is idea of B. Both are having same addresses, but for this, you see, when you print idea of A ADR, idea of B ADR, see here, which is that let us do one thing. I'll just make it like this for more clarity. It's a very simple thing. You do see whatever I am trying is only giving you information just to make sure that this is important to keep. I mean to have this to have this basic information. Because if you get same question in some interviews or in some certification exam, you might miss on that. That's why. So you print this here,
Readdress it.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Similarly, yeah, we would just do one thing, just for checking where what is that we are getting here. So just print. These are tricky questions actually. And the only simple thing here is we need to just understand the fundamental. If you know the fundamental, you can just overcome that trickiness. Because this question came yesterday, after that I thought again you should know these details as well. I know. Now run this now. Now you get run. You can see now. So ID of AADR and BADR. You can see address of AADR is different. Address of BADR is different. But ID of A is and the ID of B both are same. That's why it is true here, and that's why it is false here. But question is the values which we assign to AADR and BADR is same like how we are assigning A equal to 10 and B equal to 10. Why it is showing a different address for AADR and BADR? Same thing we are doing here, but it is giving same address for ID of A and ID of B. Why? That is the question.
I looked up
Actually,
this
can you change the
question.
value in 22 line idea of AI you are mentioning both 21 and 22?
What value should I assign? Please let me know.
In
But here,
in
this is
line
the scenario. See here.
in line number 21 and 22, you are
Uh,
printing both the
yeah, yeah.
integer.
Okay, okay. That's fine. No problem. Sorry. Even then, yeah, yeah. Fine. That's fine. Yeah, even then you get the same output. See here now. This should fine, right? Yeah, thanks for correcting this. See, idea of B is also same as idea of A, but we are assigning something is a different same even though same value, we are assigning it in separately. We are assigning 10 to A separately, 10 to B separately. And we even same thing is happening here. Why is this? Simple answer. Let me just tell you. See, to some range, to certain range, this is the answer. To certain range, see all your primitives, right? All your primitive data types are immutable objects. What objects are immutable objects. You get this point? I discussed this very clearly. When it is immutable, then what happens when something is immutable? You assign 10 object 10 for first time. For second time, if you are assigning same object, your interpreter don't try to create a new object for 10. It checks if this object already exists in memory or not. If this object's 10 exists in memory, simply this interpreter copies the address of 10 and assigns to B. Second time when you are assigning it, don't create a new object for 10, but simply copies the existing address of object and of that 10 and assigns to B as well. And this is something happens with which objects, friends? Immutable objects. I had a very detailed discussion about this in string topic. If you remember, we had discussed a similar discussion about immutability of strings. And I used paint and explained the internal mechanism, how they get created, all that. If you want to get more information, revisit that video one more time. You get this in in detail, friends. So now till what? Not all values of integers will become immutable. See here, let me just show you. A equal to some, I think till 255 or 256 to certain range, that you can check it assigning one by one. Okay, till some range you can test it and or you can just Google it or get it that details. But I'm just giving you an idea. Till this, I think till this level, maybe if you want, you can do one thing. If not, you put X and Y as well. Otherwise, just if you don't want to get confused with the value, I think at least till this range from 256 onwards, it should change, I believe. But if that's not something really thing to worry. See, till some range, all your primitives acts as immutable objects. After that range, they becomes mutable objects. Okay, so you can just say here X and Y. Now right click and run this. Even this is true. Now give 256 here. 256. Okay. Again run this. Still it is giving true. Then give some 300. So till some range, not too big range. Some 500. 500. Let's just check it. This is still true. Okay, let me give 1000. Not too many, not too big. To some level, it will stop. So 1000 is also X is Y, right? Yeah, we are checking this. This should be fine. Now give some 2000, 10,000, or you can just Google it, friends. At till what range these primitives are immutable objects. Just check that. Based on that, you can just decide. Even then, it is true. Just give some 1 lakh or something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So this is 1 lakh. Let's run this now.
You can take in ID address of the A and B in first line. You can use that value. These values.
No, no,
Take
no,
this
no.
one.
Actually, we are just checking till what these objects are treated as immutable. Parmesh or whoever it is. Uh, Maybe we can just check in Google because at some point this changes. Okay, just want to show you that. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, sir. It's a bit. I think a big number, sir. It's a little bit like it's not a short number. It's a big number. Maybe yeah. It's a 2147483647. It's a big number.
21. What is that? Let's just
Two
21.
two one
2,
four seven
4, 7,
483
483. Okay, this
six
is what, right?
six
6.
four seven, sir. 647.
Oh, till this
Yeah.
you can see here, friends. See, I mean, so how much this will get around? Just check it quickly. Till this, you can see this. Then these are immutable objects till this range. Right. Of course, this is more than enough for us. Why they kept immutable means, again, we had a very detailed discussion. If something is immutable, we can efficiently manage memory. You got it right. The way we create objects and the way they are reused, all that. Okay. So this is, I think we got the range here. Starting with this is the range where it should change. Let's run this now.
This one
Yeah.
also will get true, sir, but I think maybe yeah, change it to 8 if it.
Yeah. Let me give one more. And this, let's increment by one and assign now.
Yeah.
Still it is, yeah, somewhere you can check this, friends. But if you see here, this is actually, let me increase one more digit as well. Okay, increasing one more digit. See, so this you can check in. Still, this is giving same. You can just change that, but to some
32
range,
bit. Yeah.
to some range. Okay, this actually keep on giving true. And after that it changes. This point you have to keep in mind, friends. So, and that range you have to just check. So what is the range, till what range? What is that we should say? Till what range of values? You can just check. An int is immutable in Python. See, this somebody already explored it with. They gave the, but that is not working, my friend. We should get that actual range. This guy is not giving that. Okay, friends, I don't want to waste time. I'll just jump on to our topic. Just want to show you this. This is something you need to get it. Okay, maybe best thing is asking ChatGPT is the best thing. We can get a direct answer more than Googling all that. So just ask till what range of value is integer a and immutable object. This is very important because some, if same question comes in interviews, there might be possibility. Yeah, we might miss on this just for this thing. So here with the 300, it is giving false. X is Y. So you can see here it should return here. Then why is it increased in? I'm doing the same, right? We just set X to 300. This might have increased these days. If not, now let's run this. Still, it's giving true. Actually, for him, for this guy, it is giving false. Not sure. I don't think this. Okay, friends, you can check it. I don't want to again spend much time, but this is something we have to concentrate. This is a scenario where this changes, immutability changes at certain range. So just check that. Okay. So this is the idea. Now next one, let me get back to our tuple topic, okay? But this is an FYI, so that you have this point in mind. At some point, that integer is not immutable; it changes to mutability. So just keep that point in mind, friends. So tuple
Yeah, I'm getting
introduction.
that in command prompt actually. I'm getting
Okay,
false.
you're getting false. That's what actually. See, actually, that around 300, because sometime back around, it will be immutable till 0 to 255 when I tested sometime back. This time I'm not sure why it is giving same value. So identity test, right? This one. Okay, you can, let's check in the, yeah, some in the console as one of our friend rightly pointed. So you can just say here x equal to 300 and y equal to 300, and then X is Y. You don't need print here in console. You can see here it's getting false. Yes. Now you can just quickly check here one thing. Print ID of X here. This is what I am trying to show you. And print ID of Y. Okay. Both will be definitely different here. See. Both addresses are different. Till what range? Till I'm very sure. So this is something till 255. When x equal to 255 and y equal to 255 and then x is y. So this should happen. This should give us true. Now just change this x equal to 256 means 1 byte details. 1 byte, right? Yeah, or yeah, x equal to 256, y equal to 256. From here onwards, it should change, I believe. X is y. You can see here. So even 256 is written. You can check this, friends, because it is just at this level only. This changes 257, y equal to 257, and then x is y. Yeah, now you can see that. Till 256, it is. Can you see this scenario? Till that 256. They are immutable objects. From 257 onwards, they changes to mutability. And this is the range we have to keep in mind, friends. Somehow there is something missing from here. Same thing we should get even in this one. No problem. But this is the scenario I would like to bring into your this thing, friends. Okay, this is an
Any
FYI. Yeah,
any any integer, it is fine. It is a string value. It is any limit is there?
string. Every string is immutable. For string, there is no limitation, my friend. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
No limitation for string. If it is string, if it is numeric, then there is a limitation. Okay. If it is even for float also, there is a limitation because they are numeric types. But for string, everything is immutable. But for this integer, starting from suppose you can also check negative side as well. So x equal to minus 257 and y equal to minus 257 and then x is y something. If it applies for negative value, check that false. It's giving false. Maybe you can just quickly check for you can test this, friends, but just assigning values and checking, right? So I'll go to the topic now, other topic. I just want you, this is something you have to keep in mind. This range you should find out just the basic range, right? And this is false, you can see here. This you can check, right? Maybe x equal to -1, y equal
So
to
the range is -5 to 256.
-5 to 256. Yeah. This is one. I told you this is a minute range. Just keep that in mind, friends. So when numbers are from -5 to 256, right? These numeric values acts as what? Acts as immutable objects. Then in that case, if you assign same value for two different variables, you have same address. This is important. Just keep this in mind, friends. Let me just put this in right in chart. This is something a important scenario which helps you. And this is confusing as well. If you want to understand little depth of any learner, these type of questions definitely reflect their understanding towards this technical thing. Okay, but it's okay. This is not really something which helps for development because for development these scenarios comes very rarely, but having this information in our this thing is important. Now let's jump back to our actual thing, our tuple thing. Yesterday I think we discussed this one, right? Printing through index. That is till that I think we discussed yesterday. Tuple handling. Uh, Let me just see till where we print, and we also did some check here. What is that? We didn't check this. Yeah, we tested this. Yes, we are able to modify list, but we tried to modify tuple. It did throw some. We can run this again. See here. Somewhere you should get, and also we should provide input actually. See, we are trying to input something from keyboard. When you do that, you have a type error. Why type error? We can't do this change on tuples. We cannot modify tuples. Again, tuples are immutable like what we just discussed. We cannot modify them even. You can see I'm trying to do assignment. which is not possible in tuples. Okay. So you can just remove this. This is just only to show you. Again, FYI, that tuples are strictly immutable. So just thought to show this scenario so that you get that clarity. We are done with this now. Next after this is, once we had discussed all that, okay, you don't need this. This is something where we read values from dynamically. So now the next scenario is, and this is clear for us. Then this is already clearly right recorded in our session. Anything you can check yesterday's session that gives you a very detailed information. Fine. Now iterating a tuple. How do you iterate? Already all of you know. I mean, every one of us have this idea. We apply for loop. This is something which is something we keep using always when you are working with Python programming. So for some t in tuple one colon something, like if you just print t, you get it, friends. Okay, you can see the values are printed. You can see here. This is tuple t1, right? So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again starting from here. This is the output of this iterator. For more clarity, you can just add a description of print here. What is that? In double quotes, just you can say printing. Okay, tuple. That's all. Tuple one. That should be fine. Now, okay, I just would like to ask a question. The question is, in what scenarios these tuples are used in a real development? What are possible scenarios where tuples are used? See, in majority of cases, see, keep this in mind, friends. Where this is used is in majority of cases, wherever this built-in constructs are returning your results. Usually, it is written in the form of tuples in development. Most of the APIs also return your results in the form of tuples. Means definitely there is a large usage of tuples as well. It's not just only other data structures, friends. Okay, so we know list has I mean lot of usage that we programmatically use it to store data and then do some validations, all that. But implicitly, in majority of the cases, once you return some results by having data in that tab, in majority of the cases, because that's what I have observed in most of that cases, majority of cases, the results we return would be in the form of, I'm just writing here for more clarity, in the form of a tuple. Just keep this in mind, friends. So even tuple has a lot of usage. One very important scenario is, suppose for us actually we have a separate framework itself. In that framework, so it reads, this is a scenario. We try to read data from database. Suppose I have a database a table and that has data in the form of rows and columns. Okay. So then what? Suppose we have database size and database, okay, that project name. In that we have project name, size, and then created date and then updated date. These are all certain details we have with that data. You got it right, friends. So when I try to pull all this data from the database, we convert it into a Python object, what it's called some Python table. We say here in our application, it will be a different table, which is something okay. But I am just giving you here Py table, something like this. Assume that this is the table we get it, and that get converted to what? This is a actually purely a Python object. What object? Python object. And when I check this, right, I'm giving you a clear real scenario how tuples are used in a development. Okay, so that this helps you even to answer in some interviews or something. Okay, or and now when I check type of this, right, what is that? That database object, whatever I read from keyboard, I mean from database, and I convert it to a Py object here, Py table object. The type of that is when I say type of Py table, what type do you think it would be by default? It would be a tuple. Trust me, it would be a tuple. Then what do? I iterate it some row in some pi table something. Okay, I just say something like this. This is actually a Python object. You don't think that this is something. So then I get that details like, row of one gives me project, something like this. And then row of two gives me size, something like that. Okay. So, and this has, of course, row of zero. Even tuple means it has indexing, right? Indexing, and then suppose I try to filter 4 columns, then this will be zero, right? It comes with 0th index. This comes with first index. Next one comes with second and third, like that. So this is how the actual tuple thing works in real time, friends. You got it right. And in many cases, we try to finally once the result what we get. So suppose you are trying to do some validation. One more scenario I'm giving you, right? Because it's very important that understanding technical aspect of something is important and usage aspect is something that is another importance. You are doing validation of data, you filter data, okay? And then finally what you do, you return. Suppose all that data is in the form of list. But at the end, this list we converted to tuple and we return that. I have a question here for you. Why can't we just return that as a list? Why this conversion happens into tuple? What is the advantage of converting to tuple for us? Any idea, friends? Any idea? So in majority of the cases, this happens. Yeah, somebody is saying immutability is something, okay, one thing. Definitely that is one aspect. Also, if you see the difference between list versus tuple, this is very important for interviews. I'm giving you a very deeper analysis of all this. You check, friends. You just do that time performance analysis between list data structure and tuple data structure. Definitely, tuple has best performance. Tuple has best performance in many ways. And it doesn't mean that we avoid list, but tuple has best performance than list. This is very important. If somebody asking you a question, how is that? In interviews, if they ask this question, means someone who is working on that, someone who knows the in and out of list and tuple, they can easily answer this question. Someone who is inexperienced, we can easily find out people asking these questions if they were experienced or not. I don't want you to filter like that, but just an FYI for you. Then very simple, right? Suppose tuple you can't do anything. That object will be as is, you have to use it as is. Because you cannot you cannot update tuple or you cannot remove something from tuple, you cannot do anything on tuple. Whatever object is given to you, right? You have to use that as is without any changes. But for list, it's not like that. Suppose you have a list like this, some L1 equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And you try to insert a value somewhere in the middle. You insert it here after 3, right? Or after 2. Then what happens? It has to move all elements after 2. See, suppose I want to insert some 100 here. Okay. I'm just giving you, these are important for interviews. Okay. I inserted 100 after 2. If I should insert 100 here, then internally your interpreter should move 5, 4 and 3 to the next locations. Is it a costly operation or not? Means costly operation in sense it occupies so more system resources. Is it right? Right. So what happens here? When you do this insertion, we have to move all these values to the subsequent locations, which is actually a costly operation because it utilizes more CPU time as well as there is a need for even for memory. So this is actually consuming more this thing. Of course, we need this kind of things when it is needed. But still, point is this is again turning to a costly operation. Only these kind of things has to be chosen only when and whenever it is exactly needed. Not all times we do this. If you are at a very senior level, at least at architect or senior architect or associate architect levels, You should always think in terms of these things, friends. And this is an idea. Why tuple is is at best in performance? Why not list? Of course, we use a lot of these places. We use list in lot of places, and we use list left and right as rightly pointed by Shiva sir as well. Okay, so but I'm giving you an idea. If you don't want to make further changes on some results, and if you want to use that in your coding, then convert that objects to tuple always, because that performance thing is always there with tuple than list. And this is what happens here. Got it right, friends? So I'm just giving you importance of tuple here, comparing list and tuple, right? So because we are on tuple thing. So this is the idea, friends. Okay, this should give you a much deeper insight about tuple, and there are possible questions in interviews. Maybe if they do comparison list versus tuple, go into that details and just blast in that interview. Okay, blast in sense with the answer, not the interviewer. Okay, I'm just trying to give you that deeper introspection to this list versus tuple as well. There are so many things you can cover. You do append, it gets modified, list gets modified. You do remove, list gets modified. But there is nothing like that you can do on tuple. Okay, you can check this. You can go do a little deeper analysis and just have all those values as well, friends. Okay, so that is finally the idea with tuple versus list, and what is the advantage, where we should apply list, what are possible scenarios of using list, all that. This helps you to get a deeper insight about list. Sorry, about tuple. Sorry, about tuple. So that's all. This is about iterating list tuple. And next one. Also, once we do this, because other things we have already discussed, you can suppose you have a tuple like this, tuple of data, right? I want to do sum of all numeric data, excluding these two, right? How can I do? I can directly apply one thing. What is that? Usually, I do have this method. What method is there, friends? I can apply sum, but sum is applied on what? On homogeneous tuples, but this is heterogeneous. Suppose I apply sum on this. See here, let's run this now. You can see here. So I try to apply sum. It is getting some error here for something, because the issue is this one. Even true also is implicitly integer. I don't think we have issue, but the string has problem. So when you are doing sum, applying sum, one more important point is all this data should be a non alpha. This should be numeric data. So and that too, numeric instance, it might be integer or float, or even true should get converted to. Let me just remove this quickly and check it. True internally is nothing but one, right, friends? Let's run this. If it is true, yeah, this is working fine for us. See, 26.51. Yeah, you can check that anyhow, that tuple thing. Got it right, friends? But if you have a string, it won't work. Just keep these things in mind, friends. Okay. And also applying exception handling is very important. Do that. Okay, that's fine. Same thing, you can exclude it by writing a customized function or something. You can create a function, customized function, to eliminate this string data. If it is a numeric string, convert it to integer or some float, and do this kind of operations or apply logic on such data. So this is the idea, friends. Okay, next after that is let's move to the slicing of tuple. Suppose I have a tuple like this. Let's add one more tuple. We have tuple one. Again, the wherever a data structure is indexed, then you can apply tuple on that data structure. Sorry, slicing on that data structure. So if it is if a data structure is indexed, then slicing is something which we can easily apply. Suppose this is the tuple 3 we have here. Now what is that? I want all this integer data. Okay, start from 1 to 5. Then already we did a thorough discussion on slicing in string topic, and same discussion we did on list topic as well. That is, we did that in right very detail. So now what is that you do? So you try to just get some, what is that, tuple 3 of some, what is this here? This is 0, starting with 0 colon. And then this 5 means it ends with you put 5 itself. So it takes till 4. And that is what we need actually. So this is a kind of slicing we can apply even on tuple. Now right click and run this. You get that subtuple here. You can see here. All, what is this here? All group of integers here. A subtuple with all integers in that. Okay, similarly, you can split this parent tuple into subtuples, and then you can have that data sorted by applying slicing. Okay, suppose I want all float and string and boolean to be filtered into separate tuples. Then what do we do? Just apply slicing. Similarly here also, I want just only float to into another tuple. Then what do I do? Tuple 3 of, till 5 we have. In 5th index we have this, right? So then what is that? You just apply 5 colon 6. That gives you what? This float value. And all that value is again converted to a subtuple. Okay. Like how we have sublists, we have subtuples here. And similarly, ABC, then you can just put it some 6 colon 7. And then, and the last one, so we can simplify this, just saying that 7 colon, because after that we don't have anything. And that is the last part of tuple. So we just specify the start index, and rest of the tuple will be automatically extracted by this slicing. Even here also you don't need to mention start index when you are going from beginning to some part of tuple, to the middle part or to the end part even. Okay. So now run this. This should give us, you can see this is something a tuple with all integers. This is tuple with the float, tuple with the string, tuple with the boolean. Perfectly filtered. Got it right, friends. This is how you can apply slicing on tuples as well. And one important thing is, what is that? On any indexed data structure, we can happily apply tuples. I mean, sorry, slicing. Got it right, friends. So that is one more thing. Next, after that, slicing we have covered. Tuple comprehensions again. So comprehension is something which we can apply on this list or tuple, or even we can apply comprehension on dictionary or set as well. It is something we can apply on all these data structures. What is comprehension means? Writing a compact form of code, which we had discussed. But anyhow, we quickly do a few examples on this as well, on tuple comprehensions as well. So now if you see here, what is this? This is the syntax of comprehension: expression, some iterator, some condition, right? These are the 3 different parameters what we can add to the comprehension. Of course, you can have nested nested iterators inside this. You have multiple conditions inside this. This can be made more complex as well. It's not like it should be like this. Okay. So, but for our quick understanding, let us do some 1 or 2 scenarios so that gives you how to apply comprehensions. Later on, wherever needed, we can keep on applying it. That gives you much more, much more clarity on this. Okay. So now this is syntax. So what is that? Expression iterated. Suppose I give a problem to you, and here you can see the difference between list comprehension and tuple comprehension is simple, friends. If it is a list, you put square brackets between this, right, and at the start and end. This is tuple, right? You have to use parentheses. If it is set comprehension, apply braces. If it is dictionary comprehension, apply braces. These comprehensions are actually, we use a lot of comprehensions in coding. Got it right, friends? Right, no problem. Let's do a small example. So you can take anything. You don't need to take too complex examples to understand comprehension. What you can do? You can do one thing. So you can check. So one thing is take some data of list here. I mean, yeah, you can take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. what you do? You apply comprehension and get even list. Okay, so even tuples, all even values into one tuple. So this is one simple comprehension. You can create on tuples. Of course, you can create some complex scenarios as well. It's not like we are taking very basic thing just to quickly understand. So how do you get it, friends? How do you get this scenario? Just iterate this tuple and just try to what? You need to just filter that and then assign it to some kind of this thing. For this is the requirement, small requirement, and this is syntax. You should be very clear with this. What is now? Let's apply quickly here just to get apply comprehension on this. What comprehension? This is tuple comprehension. Okay. And I think I shared you that website as well. What is that, friends? W3 resources. Try to solve as many problems as from that. That helps you, friends. Okay. And this is the problem. Then we need to iterate this. How do you iterate it? Simply, you can follow this some filtered tuple. Okay. Equal to something. You just need to first apply iterator for some t in what is that tuple 3 or this one. Just assign this to tuple 4. T tuple 4 equal to something, and maybe I can put a hash here. Just put that in for t in tuple 4. Okay, and what is that? You need to apply a condition. What is that condition? This is iterator. Condition is if t percentile 2 equal to 0, then you should assign it to the tuple that t. So that's all. Okay. So this is tuple comprehension. Now let's run this and print filtered tuple. I have a question here for you. What is that? I have one. I mean, little a question like which makes you think a bit here. Okay. So run this now. Right click and run this. We got generator object, not a problem. So this is important. What did I get here? I get a generator object. To avoid this, I can do one thing. I can convert this whole result to a list object. I can do this. Now this time I don't need this you can see here. I got all events in the list. But before this, I did this conversion to list. See here. What is this generator object? This is very important, friends. Again, this is something which we expect in interviews as well. What is a generator object? So generator sense it's same, it's a kind of again a collection where you have group of objects in that or collection of objects in that. But the difference is here, like this data structures, we can't view that data directly in the generator objects. Whatever output this tuple is generating, this comprehension, tuple comprehension is generating, all that results are stored into one object, and that object is written as generator object. Now, what is that you should do? If you see this kind of outputs, you don't need to worry about that. The only thing we should do is if you get a direct generator object, one thing is we should just for some val in that you have to iterate that generator object. If you want to exclusively check output from generator object, you can see here. Now you just iterate it and then just apply val and right click and run that. See, you get output even from generator without conversion. I didn't do any conversion. You can see here we got output from generator object here. See here, friends. But when you apply comprehension on some data, this tuple comprehension returns what? A generator object that, and we need to iterate it and to see that output. Now the easiest ways, if you know that this output will be in the form of generator, a quick hack for us is just convert it to a list, right? That's all. So automatically you can view that data. You got it right, friends. Of course, you can do both. You can iterate that generator object or In the beginning itself, you just convert that output to list so that you can just view that data just once that is created. But this time, the iteration, this filtered tuple is also a list actually. It's not a tuple anymore, or it's not a generator object because you did a conversion here. All that data inside that tuple gets converted to list. And this iteration is on list, and this filtered tuple is a list. Even though the name is tuple, it's not tuple, it's a list here. You got it right, friends. So this is another important thing, quick observations. Okay. So when you're just iterate, you create a tuple comprehension, implicitly it returns what, friends? It returns a generator object. What is the generator object? There is a very important topic in Python, generators, iterators, and one more is there is one more, and decorators. One more topic, deck. So these are all very important topics for interviews. Definitely, you might expect questions on that, but just observe this. Like, again, we'll talk about generators and iterators, all that step by step, and which is having best performance. We do all that discussion. But this is the idea. A tuple by default generates what? Tuple comprehension, sorry. Generates it yields, it produces a generator object where we have all that data inside that, wrapped inside that, and we have to iterate it and then view that data. That is one scenario. Otherwise, apply a conversion to some visible data type or data structure, and then you can just view that data, or you can iterate or do whatever that is needed on that particular data structure. So this is the idea, friends. You got it right. So I just want to ask a question here. What is that question? So we had discussed this. Question is, this is a tuple comprehension, right? This is a tuple comprehension. Now you are trying to iterate tuple. You can see here you are iterating tuple, applying condition. You are appending it to a tuple, right? You are adding some data to a tuple, right? So the question is, we cannot modify tuple. Then, so this is the question. Okay, we cannot modify a tuple, right? But how can we do this? Right? How can we try to append data to a tuple here? Not possible, right? We cannot modify tuple itself. That is what the nature of tuple is. It is immutable. But I am iterating data and I am adding that data to another tuple here. Right? It creates altogether a new tuple, and all that filtered data is stored in the new tuple. If we cannot modify tuple, how come we can add data or filter data, right? And add it to a tuple or generator? That is the question. This is a question which I would like to ask. Suppose if it is, again, this is something, these questions helps you to understand what, friends, if someone is attending interview with experience or really experienced or not. This questions quickly gives that understanding. Of course, sometimes, okay, even the real person may not know that, fine, but this is the question. So any answer on this? Any answer, friends? We cannot, we know very well, tuple is immutable, we cannot modify it. Even a small assignment, if you do update on tuple, it won't work. It gives type error, right?
Convert to the
So how this is happening? And here we are creating a tuple comprehension, right? When it is tuple comprehension, all this operation is being done on tuple itself. Right? How is it possible? Is the question. Somebody answered this. Yes, somebody rightly answered this question. Who is that, friends? So, yeah, correct. What happens is tuple is not, this operation internally is not done on tuple. What happens? Whatever you are doing here, this is not done on tuple, friends. That's why it is giving you generator object, because it cannot directly yield a tuple as output. So that's why it gave generator object. Then what happens here? First thing is it converts that tuple to a list implicitly. See again the internal operation, what's happening here. It won't do this direct appending or adding this data to tuple. It's not possible. Then what happens implicitly? Your interpreter converts this tuple comprehension implicitly to list actually. So it converts this whole operation to the list and then it performs this comprehension. Of course, for us it looks like tuple comprehension, but at memory level again, this whole thing get converted to a list, and all this whatever we are doing here, operation that iterating, condition check, all that adding data, and that is added to a list internally, and that will be generated to some generator object something. This is what happens implicitly. Okay, generator object. Now finally, suppose if you want this output in the form of a tuple, you can simply apply converting it to a tuple itself. Once the whole operation is done, then you have to do a explicit conversion to tuple. Let's just do this. Okay. We have to explicitly convert to tuple. Otherwise, you get generator object. You can see this thing. Internally, it converts this to a list, and then because if something should be modified, then it should be a list there, not tuple. Right. When you apply comprehension here, yeah, at program level, it looks like tuple comprehension. But at memory level, again, it has to convert to some changeable object and then perform this operation and then append this data, filtered data, and finally it should return some object. That changeable object or mutable object is listed at this stage here. So that's what internally it happens. We got it right, friends. Now once that is done, again we are explicitly converting generator object to tuple. See here. Let's run the print it and see what would be the output. What would we get? See, again we explicitly converted to tuple. Why again? Maybe you can ask a question. Already we are doing tuple comprehension. Why are you converting explicitly to tuple? Because I don't get output as tuple. I get generator object, and that has to be converted to some readable format, which is tuple or list. But as we are working on tuples, I want output in the form of a tuple. So I'm converting it into a tuple data type. Interesting, right? So this is the idea, friends. So we have covered.
It
Yes,
is the
yes.
same scenario for list, right? We
Yeah,
should
we can
generate.
do. Yes,
Yeah.
same. Yes, you can do it. Let me just quickly show you. You can apply same for list as well, but that becomes what? For list, you don't need external comparison. You can see here, you can directly apply list. That gets converted to the list itself. Okay, filtered list, you can say. Okay. I put it here. Okay. And then here there is no concept of generator object actually. This list by default gives you a list as filtered list, and then that is in viewable format.
You can change in tuple values as a
Correct.
list
You can
format.
see. Correct. I will do that. I just want to show you just
Yeah.
that we get output like this. Just want to show you that if it is list, and it doesn't this by default produces as a list directly and not generate. And if you want this output to be converted, yes, definitely again you can do this conversion to the what tuple again. You got it right. Now you can see here. You can see it got converted to tuple. Got it, friend?
Thank you.
Yeah. So these are all very important observations and useful for you when you are working as well, even for interviews. Maybe if you see in most of our discussions, there is a deeper insight of all these things. And if interviewer is really want to test, if interviewer want to really test that if you are having working experience or not, this a simple check on these things is enough. That automatically gives that if you are working on this or not. That itself there people can feel trust, friends. So to have this thing even answered, so we tried to go a little deeper and come up with more useful information. Okay, so that's all for today. So shall we stop here, friends? So let's stop recording. Maybe